on Fancred. It's David Todd and Matt Williamson with you here, taking you home for the rest of this insane Steelers-Broncos game. How's it going, Matt?
It's going really well. This game is hard to wrap your noggin around. I mean, I feel like the Steelers are playing really well, but just keep shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, going back to the Grimble play, and we just saw Connor fling the ball in the air and lose it. And, man, I mean, it's self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah, some self-inflicted wounds. I mean, there's so much to talk about with some of the gadget plays that have been going on, the turnovers. You know, one of the things that we saw here for me in the first half, Ben had all day to throw, was making great throws, and, you know, Steelers moving the ball almost at will. What we're seeing here in the second half, a little bit here in this third quarter, as we come back live, and Matt and I have our television synced up this week. We didn't last week. But, you know, in this half, it just seems like Denver's definitely getting more pressure, and we're seeing some inaccuracy from Ben on some of these throws. Steelers are struggling a little bit. But the defense, you know, still playing reasonably well. I mean, you know, anybody's game from here, right? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I really do think it's a coin flip at this point. I do think the Steelers have generally been the better team today. And you're right, though. It's tougher sledding in the second half. Really on both sides of the ball. I mean, Denver's having a little more success. Lindsey, Emmanuel Sanders has been a problem than they did in the first half. And the Steelers are not moving the ball quite as well. I thought Ben was really sharp, though, for much of the game.
I'm with you. He was great. Let me ask you, you probably, you know, than the average person who's with us on the broadcast here, you've watched the Broncos more than most. I'm really impressed with Lindsey's ability to turn the corner and just his outright speed. The Steelers DBs have taken some bad angles on him.
Yeah, he's a very good player. And to take it up a notch, like when I watched him in the preseason, it's like, wow, he's impressive. And maybe he'll make the team. And, boy, he made the team. And maybe he'll be their third down back. You know, I mean, he kind of has a Sproles-like feel to him. But he's much more than that. I mean, he's an interior runner. He is physical. He gets downhill. He's a find. He's their best guy by far.
Yeah, he's been good. Remember, if you're joining us, you can get in with us live with both Matt and I. Get your mug on the screen. If you hit the fan line button on the top right of your phone, if you're using a phone app, download the Fancred app, and that's where you can get on with us. Lewis has commented here, you know, obviously one thing, Matt, as we get down, you know, as this game moves along here, the Steelers have now used 2 timeouts just in the course of doing business. So a small disadvantage here, you know, if you're thinking about where things go the rest of the way, something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, I know I think that's something that we're going to have a trend with here in these fourth quarter games, is you and I talking about clock management and use of timeouts. And not that it was a horrible situation, but it is a big deal. You know, on the road, tough place to play. Little oxygen, maybe you're a little more tired. You wouldn't mind getting a timeout in a big drive, or, you know, or the typical usage as well.
Yeah, so, you know, just so everybody knows where we are and watching the game in terms of televisions, Broncos with a big third down here. We're counting down from 12:56, 12:55 left to 3rd and 5 in this situation. The Steelers defense, Matt, has done a good job of getting off the field. I'm just pulling up the third down stats, see what they are right here.
I bet they're pretty good.
Yeah, the third down efficiency, Broncos just 2 for 8 so far, Steelers 4 for 11. You know, Hargrave, Cam, they've been doing a decent job of getting pressure here. We'll see. I assume Denver, obviously, they go empty. Obviously going to put the ball in the air, and Keenum's looking at it said maybe Mike Hilton coming off the edge. He's worried about it. Oh, and he was right.
Yep.
He was right. Oh,
push from Cam.
Signed that. Great recognition by.
Another note on Keenum, and this really goes back to last year. Last year, behind a terrible Vikings offensive line, he did a great job of avoiding sacks, keeping a play alive with a calm helmet, eyes downfield. And I think we've seen a lot of that today, where the Steelers are winning some pass rush situations, but just not able to get a hold of them.
Yeah, that's definitely true in there. And like, you know, Hargrave had a great game last week when we were watching, and he and Cam have been doing a good job. But this recognition here, we don't have our sound on, so I don't know what Tony's saying, but he's saying the same thing. He sees the Steelers with the coverage with where Edmonds is lined up behind Hilton, and he knows that they can drop those guys, but that gives him, you know, a lot of free stuff in the middle of the field. Recognizing that, you know, looking that way, he had 5 guys to choose from. It felt like.
Yeah, you're right, and They bat that pass down, something they absolutely needed. I was one other note I was going to mention about the defense, like as well as they're playing, it's a really solid effort. Once again, I mean, we could use a big play though. You know, I mean, in a close game where things are, it seems like all the big plays in the game are kind of going against the Steelers, with the exception of 2 long completions.
Yep. Right. Not Joe Hayden's best game. I got a good chuckle out of when AB caught that ball on the sideline and Manny Sanders came bounding off the bench to have a little chat with him. Did you see that?
I didn't notice it, but I bet that's good stuff. I mean, look at Lindsey go, man. I mean, this guy is a good player. He's starting to find some holes, and he certainly is not wearing down.
Yeah. A little chat there for those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, not I don't know exactly what how the Steelers are exactly using their personnel on every play, but it has not been Terrell Edmunds' best game either.
No, you see him in a chase position too often. Looked like he blew that coverage down by the goal line. You mentioned Hayden, and one thing about Hayden, as good as he's been, even when he was an early first-round pick, he was not a speedster. You know, a guy like Sanders probably isn't his best type of matchup.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you on that. Give him the bigger receiver. Let's
technician.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a lateral or not.
It looked like
on that play.
Didn't end up mattering, but it looked like. I'm not sure what this flag's going to be either.
So Jackson's asking us on the fan line, Matt. Conditioning here at this point. Obviously, neither you. I've been to Denver. I'm sure you have as well. I've never played a game there. How much do you think in this game, in the 11 minutes that are left, conditioning is going to make a difference here?
Well, I don't think it's an accident that Denver started out the season 2-0 with 2 home games right off the bat. You know, when teams are, players hadn't played 60 minutes yet in the preseason. I host a weekly show with Craig Wolfley. I asked him the exact same thing. Hey, you played in Denver. And he's like, oh, it absolutely matters. To me, it's the hardest place to play in the league. You know, they keep shooting over to the Steelers sidelines. You're seeing AB with oxygen. The Denver guys, you never see that. I absolutely think it's a big factor, and it really favors Denver from here on out.
Yeah. Oh, what great play design there. We've seen from both teams really seen good play design. I think Fichtner's called a great game, but look at that. Yeah. Fake the screen to one side, then the other side, then tight end down the middle. That's a pretty play there.
Yeah, it was. It was really well executed, too. I mean, it's a tough one to defend. Hireman's kind of turned into a factor for this team the last month or so, too. I mean, kind of when they traded Demarius, Hireman stepped up, getting a lot more targets, a lot more involved. He looks like a keeper for them.
Hey, so if people want to ask us comments on the app, you can just you can bang that on there. If the app we're trying to get to some of these. Bill talking about the Steelers turning the ball over and the situation with the Steelers. Oh, as Manny goes up the middle again.
Really impressive drive here.
Happy to engage with anything that you guys want to hit us up with. Look at that.
Making it look easy at this point.
Yeah.
Kind of get the feeling you mentioned about fatigue and the thin air. Feels like the defense is just a step behind on this drive, and I hope it's not a sign of thing to come.
Yeah, look, the reason they ended up winning that Jacksonville game is that they helped Jacksonville to field goals instead of touchdowns, and they need to get stiff right here and get this done. They get the stop. Oh, I thought he called it incomplete. He was just stopping the clock.
Yeah, Sanders had a heck of a game. Lindsey's had a heck of a game. And Keenum's really been sharp too, and they're all kind of at the height of their powers right now.
Man, you get both feet down there. Did you take a look at that?
I would need to see it again, to be honest with you. I thought so initially, and then I didn't double check it. But big play here, obviously. 2nd and goal. If you can hold the 3 here, you got a heck of a shot. But
yeah, really.
And he gets in without a whole lot of resistance there.
Okay, so Matt, let's go back and talk a little bit about what happened in the first half. So, the Steelers were driving the ball, and they run that the reverse pass with AB. And generally, I mean, there's the standard rule on any gadget play is if it doesn't work, fans will absolutely rip the coaching staff up and down. It's the worst ball ever, right? If it works, great. Nobody says anything. So the Steelers run 2 essentially trick plays in the first half. One doesn't work. it looks like it's there for a touchdown if it's executed. The other one actually does end in a touchdown. So what's your philosophy on coaches making decisions like that? Because obviously, if they snap that ball to Boz and he doesn't hit Villanueva, everybody in the world is going to either take the points, or if you want to go for it, put the ball in Ben's hands at the goal line. Don't put it in Boz's hands.
Of course.
That's all results based. What's your thinking on
that? I think that's a good point. And of course, you'd be hearing fire Tomlin things if Boz doesn't complete the pass. I mean, it's such a fine line. Yeah. It's insane. Even those teams on a winning streak and all these good things. Generally speaking, I think the Steelers do a pretty good job of it. I always thought Haley would get a little too cute with such things in crucial situations, 3rd and short, near the goal line, those type of things. But I didn't really have a problem with the AB call. The problem with those type of plays, though, is when you put it in the hands of a guy that never throws the ball, you know he's going to throw it. You know, like if it's open or not, he's not just going to throw it away. Right. He gets 2 chances a year or whatever to throw the ball. He's going to do it right or wrong.
Right. And hero play.
Right. But the play call looked good. The execution was bad. I mean, the throw was bad, but I mean, they executed it well except for the throw. They executed
right. Well, one guy comes through the line. One guy basically is unblocked. Mm-hmm. You know, he's awfully deep. One guy's unblocked. If that guy's blocked, it's probably a touchdown.
Yeah, probably.
Assuming he can make the throw. We saw him on one of those night games in Cincinnati a few years ago. Miss the kid, the running back, who's the artist, whose name's escaping me, but 3 or 4 years ago, Steelers had it. Just AB missed him wide open in a Bengals game on a night game. But yeah, so I mean, I think Fichtner does a really good job, with his play calls. So I actually think, from my perspective, I actually think the second one, the field goal play, was much riskier than the first one. The first one's first down, first drive of the game. Second one, you're obviously giving up 3 points. He's probably going to make that field goal. And if you don't get, you're walking away with nothing there. But, it worked out perfect.
Yeah, I want to get to that in 1 second. But the last note on the AB one was I was a little critical at the time just because they were moving the ball so effortlessly. Why not just stick to what's working? And that's always the knock on trick plays. Why would you try something different? Everything else is working. Well, that's when people bite a little harder, and that's when the trick plays work a little better too. But as for the field goal, the fake field goal, I thought for sure they were going to go for it. And then when they tried to Boz out there, I was like, wow, that's not really Tomlin-esque. I mean, he's usually going to take that risk even on the road. The points are kind of tough to come by, but you look like the better team at that point. And then what happened, wow, brought the house down. And, Villanueva is a great target. I mean, the guy was a former receiver at Army, and he's going to catch that more often than not. People probably that probably didn't dawn on any of the Denver people, defenders' minds that this guy actually is an above average receiver as offensive tackles go. And I guess Boz can throw a little bit. And I didn't know that.
Well, right. I don't think we've seen that. What was interesting about that is it certainly looked like Jesse, the TV angle we got was from behind the play, which made that awfully interesting, right? Mm-hmm. So to watch that play, because you're seeing what Boz is seeing. And when he catches that snap and rolls right, I'm looking at Jesse James going, oh, man, he's screwed because Jesse James is double teamed.
Right, not thinking that they're going to throw it to a lineman.
Right. Well, I wasn't – I mean, Denver – the other thing is on short field goals like that, as you know, Matt, teams don't – guys don't go all out – they don't sell all out to block it because it's just so much harder. Kicker can get it off a little TJ Watt and Sensabaugh going at it on the sideline. Yeah.
The good news is it looks like Watt's okay. I thought he broke his hand, an hour or so ago, but there's some sort of conversation here. I mean, I assume it's a
this is it. But you got the two defensive leaders in Bostic and Cam there, kind of making sure nothing's out of line. But clearly, Sensabaugh thinks that somebody's blowing the coverage, meaning TJ's not dropping in the right spot, because that's some animated conversation right there.
Yeah, I was wondering if it was maybe even a run fit conversation, on the outside run. Okay. I don't know. I mean, I'm just guessing, but that was a pretty easy drive by Denver. The easiest I think they've moved the ball all day. And if there's some miscommunication going on out there, they better get it fixed immediately.
Yeah. We haven't seen that from the Steelers defense very often. Guys, in all my years of watching it, and I see guys on the sideline having it, which is nothing wrong with that. Figure it out. However you have to figure it out. And with Cam and Bostic right there, obviously nothing's going to get out of hand.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's not a big deal. Nice throw by Ben there to AB on the sideline.
And is anybody better in the world? The answer is no, at putting their toes down than AB. My goodness.
Right. What a play here. The feet. I
just assumed it within. Yeah, didn't get to see it there.
No, not the best.
I assume.
There we go. You just assume he's in. I don't think he's in.
Oh, he didn't. He didn't get it down.
Wow. He always makes that play.
Ouch.
Just see how today's going, man.
It is.
And then Ben hits his hand on a helmet. Oy. I mean, all the little things that have gone wrong, or big things that have gone wrong in this game. I go back to that Grimble play. That's the play of the game for me.
Yeah, that was a huge one. But, when he's going to the goal line and there's only one guy there, you feel you can – don't you feel like, you can avoid the big blasting hit, Matt?
Exactly.
I just felt like it wasn't totally necessary to, have your mano-a-mano right there.
Right, you got the ball in the wrong hand. You take that guy on, and what happened only happens 1 out of 10 or 20 times or whatever, but it's still not very smart. And, oh, by the way, I hate that rule. It's one of my biggest pet peeves in the whole league, that if you lose the ball out of bounds, even though the defense never recovered or did anything to earn it, they get the ball. That rule makes me insane.
Ben looking for some kind of pass interference call there on Juju down the right sideline, as he was, I'm sure on the replay we're going to see he was getting mugged.
Yeah, but look about it.
Looks like the Steelers are going to be punting here with 7:19 left. He's, understandably not happy. I don't think this is a spot in the game where you go for it yet at the 49, because you don't want to get 2 scores down. You got enough time.
If it was 4th and 1, 4th and 2, I'd be a little more inclined, but not now.
Yeah.
Although the Steeler run defense doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. I mean, I would think this will be a heavy Lindsey drive. And as good as the run defense has been this year, I mean, the last couple games, it's looking a little porous.
Yeah, at times getting gashed. Here's the other big play in the game for me. What was James Washington doing on that ball?
Yeah, I mean, they just threw a ball down the right sideline, and I immediately thought, I was like, boy, I hope it's not going to Washington. Like, I just don't – I watched him every day in camp, mini camp, and he was unbelievably impressive. And he looks like he's just swimming and thinking and not being an instinctive, natural playmaker right now, because you got to make that play, man.
You have to make that play. Matt, I'm sure you didn't see this play, but there was a play late in the Pirates season where Gregory Polanco hit a ball into the corner and he went sliding into second base. And, Gregory Polanco's been in the major leagues 5 years, whatever it's been. I'm sure he slid into second base 10,000 times in his life. And he jumped up and he slid and he hurt his hip and his shoulder and his knee and his ankle, and he's done for the season. And he separated his shoulder sliding into second base. That's how he jumped. And James Washington on that play, I felt like if he just keeps running, he scores a touchdown.
Yeah, right.
I didn't get it at all.
No, I was the same thing. Why are you overthinking this? The ball's in the air. You're pretty much alone. You've done this a million times from Mason Rudolph at Oklahoma State. This isn't a hard play to make. It's right up your alley. It's not a technical route you have to run. And, you brain fart it.
I said this on Twitter, Limas Washington. Herman just said, James Washington, Limas Suite 2.0. I mean, a little early for that probably from both of us. But, man, I don't know. Jeffrey's asking if you think that hit that Ben took on finishing the follow-through. I was talking to you, and I didn't really get to see the replay well. It looked like he shaked that off okay?
Yeah, I mean, he reacted as though he hit a helmet with his throwing hand, as every quarterback does, and you get that look of pain on your face. Shook his hand, and I'm sure it hurts. I mean, there's no way around it, but he's done it many times. I mean,
Herman's saying Romo put the jinx on us.
We're not listening to the audio.
Ever since Romo said that they were the most complete team in the NFL, they're down 14-0.
I do remember him saying that, and hasn't gone well since. I guess he's right. So really could use a turnover here or a quick 3 and out. Other than that, I'm going to be a little worried.
What's your level of confidence in James Conner now that he's put the ball on the ground, 4 times this year?
I'm glad you brought that up too.
Cleveland, it cost him, probably cost him a win. Here, this is I'm not going to say necessarily cost him the game, but he's gotten a couple of them back. I think he had one last week. Didn't he have a fumble that?
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember when
the Browns fumbled. Week one was terrible.
Yeah, it one he fumbled out of bounds near the goal line against somebody that the Steelers kept the ball. Is this anything you level of concern that you worry?
6.5 or 7 out of 10. I mean, a young player hasn't played a lot of primetime games, because where I'm going with this is to be a workhorse. And this brings us back to Lev Bell, but I mean, like Emmett or Walter Payton. I mean, there's a mindset as much as there is a toughness that I am going to get this done no matter what. Just keep feeding me. Remember Emmett with one arm, those type of mentalities. And that's what Tomlin needs out of this position, especially with no one else really in around. And I don't know that Connor has that. When it's late December and it's sleeting in Heinz Field, and you're going to give it to him 28 times, is he ready to handle that? Most aren't.
Yeah, I like Stephen Ridley. I'm not suggesting Stephen Ridley should be getting 10 carries a game, but he got buried after his fumble. I wouldn't mind seeing Stephen Ridley get, back to – look, Samuels has done some nice things. I wouldn't mind seeing Ridley getting, 3 to 5 carries a game. It's just James Conner's ball security just has to be better. There's no two ways about it. He has had a great season, and that is the only blemish on the season, but it is now a big blemish because I do think it cost him a win in Cleveland. And, this turnover here was, on the Bronco 30-yard line when you're looking to go ahead and now you're behind.
And there's a
huge.
You got to know when to hold them and when to fold them, too. I mean, it's you had a nice play, put the ball away. You don't have to fight for every yard to make you don't have to end up on SportsCenter on every run. I think he's still learning those things. And this is big picture, but I think they need to add it back in the offseason. And that's not saying that.
Oh, no doubt. They will. And whether it's a veteran back, look, Samuels may have a bigger role going forward here, but there's so look. I don't expect Stephen Ridley to be back next year, and there's going to be somebody, whether it's another third-round draft pick or a veteran free agent. Somebody's got to come. If you're the Broncos, you throwing here 3rd and 4, 5 minutes, 5.5.
Well, they're going empty. I bet they are. It's kind of a giveaway. Maybe they can get a big play here, rushing passer.
Steelers get great pressure. Oh, look at that! The man possessed Hargrave.
Cam got a lot of nice push there too.
Both those guys right up the middle.
I'm surprised. We've seen a fair amount of that today, and Keenum's gotten out of the way. There was no getting out of the way of that. It's like a freight train coming up the middle. Wow, nice job.
Yeah, he was down. I think Hargrave got it.
Oh, yeah. He's well.
You not touch him?
I didn't know if his knees ever hit because he landed on Hargrave's leg.
Oh, well,
I would like to see it again, but I guess it doesn't matter. They're punting away. Huge play, though.
Yeah, let's see Switzer catch this one. Yep, puts it away. Oh, Jesus. Did you see that?
No. What was the flag?
He almost put it on the ground again.
Oh, yeah.
He almost put it on the ground again.
Do you have any concern with him, too? Like, yeah.
No, I don't. But I mean, the one on the sideline, he knew that he was going out of bounds. And, that was not, that wasn't a fumble. The other one was obviously a fumble. But this one, the guy gets his hand on it. When he's catching those balls over the middle, he's got both arms on that thing and he's making plays. This has not been the best day for
the skill guys and the Grimbles and Connors and Switzers. I mean, AB and Juju have done their part, but man, I mean, Washington. I mean, I know Connor's not in that conversation, but Switzer, Washington, Grimble. I mean, these are down the line players that are making some crucial errors.
Yep. Yeah. So, people were talking, saying, why do you have Xavier Grimble? Why is he the tight end on that play? The reason he's the tight end on that play, I said, is because the Broncos aren't looking to cover him. They'll worry about Vance McDonald and follow him if he runs that route. But you're not looking for Xavier Grimble to do that. That's part of the necessity of the play design, right?
I mean, as number 3 tight ends go, I think he's a pretty solid player. He's a pretty decent athlete. You got to remember, you are in the high air. I'm sure there's going to be a pretty decent rotation throughout the game. And like you said, I mean, he's the last guy anyone suspects. And he screwed up at the end, but the play call was dynamite. The execution was dynamite. They sold it really well. And then he did screw it up at the end badly.
So let's get to some of our questions on our chat line. Greg asked, the Steelers are down 3-0 on turnovers. What's their record with that differential? I think, Matt, like historically, right? It's if you lose the turnover battle by 3, it's like you're 95% chance of losing.
Over
like
90.
If you're +3 in turnover, I know plus 3
right.
is like above 80.
I'm guessing off the top of my head, but I think you're just about spot on, which is the story here, of course. I mean, I still feel like the Steelers were the better team thus far today, although the second half, Denver's been pretty impressive, especially on the ground.
And I think Denver's a good team. And Roma made that point early in the broadcast saying, look, they played the Chiefs twice and played them tough. They played the Rams tough.
They've had a rough schedule. The Chargers, which is one of the best teams in the league. They've had by far the hardest schedule in the league. Yeah. And so, I mean, you look at this team and you're like, besides Miller and Chubb, I don't see great strengths, but they're better than a 4-6 team, especially when you consider who they've played. And it's been a really difficult stretch for them. They get this win. Their schedule lightens up a lot, where the Steelers have some huge games coming up. Maybe Denver could sneak in as the 6th wild card if they get this win.
Yeah. So they punt again. Switzer gets it out to the Steelers 45 with a nice little cut to get 5 or 6 yards. So a good question here from Artie. I like this. If you're a Steeler fan right now, Matt, and you're the choice of a quick touchdown, let's say in the next minute, so the Broncos get the ball with 3.5 minutes left, or you could score in the last 15 seconds. Which would you prefer? Guaranteed.
Well, I would say you always prefer the last one, to end it. But then you got OT. No, you want to score as quick as possible here. You don't need to extend a drive. But I don't think you have to ignore the running game either.
If you're Mike Tomlin and you score in the last 20 seconds, score a touchdown to potentially tie the game, do you go for 2 or no?
I bet he does. I know it's not the
Yeah, that's a good question.
Bet he does. And I don't know why people care about when you do those things, you do it on the road, you don't do it at home. I don't think that matters to me. I mean,
I don't either. You got to play.
Right.
Go ahead and score.
Carolina did it in Detroit last week. Well, it was on the road. Take the risk. I'm like, well, why? What's the difference? I mean, for still right.
The coin flip.
Yeah, I always look at like the Jacksonville game. I felt like the Steelers were taking that game over. So if it went to overtime, I felt like that helped the Steelers a great deal. Where this game, I don't get the feeling that they're taking it over. That maybe I would go for 2, take a shot to win the whole thing. But this will obviously be crucial. I mean,
so I've given up trying to figure Tomlin out in his rhythmically non-rhythmic or whatever his phrase is. I mean, a couple of years ago they'd score the first touchdown, they'd always go for 2, and we haven't seen him do that the past 2 years. I don't know what his decision making is. That game in San Diego, he went for the winning touchdown. When they could have kicked, I think, a field goal to tie on the last play, and Bell scampered in on the edge. But, Simon's saying go for 2 for sure. So Carl said score in the last 15 seconds. That's when you want to score. Well, yeah, I guess if you can guarantee it, that, nothing wrong with that. But, I think everybody would take 53 to Juju here on the first play.
I love the argument of, 56. Boy, you scored too soon. Like, I mean, you take them when you can get them for the most part. There's some clock management involved, of course. Speaking of which, I'm excited to see you lose your mind whenever they handle the clock here. Von Miller finally shows up with the big play here.
Man, he did, and it was
Chubb.
I
thought it was Miller from
was it Chubb?
Bottom. It was one. Yeah.
Yeah, from the left side.
Both of them make
both of them. So he beats him clean on the inside here. What's his replay?
Really well.
I don't know. He doesn't get a chip, and then he beats him on the outside. And Connor's not there. Count. That's wow.
Yeah,
he did know the snap count.
Absolutely.
He was off like lightning.
But that's really the first big play I can remember from him. Which, if you told me this game was 24-17 with 3:50 left on Friday, I would have said Von Miller has 3 sacks and a fumble, or But they have really doubled him consistently. That's a big play. Pick up the first down, get a bounce. There you go. Juju could be a low.
Man, I know this is going to be sacrilege. Who's the Steelers' better receiver right now?
Oh, it's sacrilege. But I hear what you're saying.
His numbers are crazy. He's already got over 1,000 yards.
To hit another big play where he runs away from people, and I didn't think that was ever going to be the strength of his game. You know, he gets a 99-yarder or whatever today. I mean, you kidding me? And he is
97 again, yes.
For those of you that,
second time. You know, I made the comparison to Armani Cooper and Juju on Thursday, and a lot of people came back with, well, you know, Cooper's much faster. Hard to convince me that anybody's much faster than Juju when it's
right.
He's got the
I mean,
ball
there is a difference. I mean, he didn't have a great 40 time, but he does not play like a slow receiver. And I wanted to mention this too. If most of you people listening probably have not been next to Juju, he is a big, physical, strapping 22-year-old that is only going to get bigger and stronger. He is a load. You know, like you saw him there just muscle his way to get out of bounds. He's a powerful dude.
He and look how deep those safeties are.
See, I think that's too deep for me. I assume Romo's saying that's too deep because if you get Ben in the middle of the field this much time, I would not be that super conservative if I were Denver.
You know, this is a big third down play because you know you're going to go for it here on fourth.
So you can run it.
He and Cooper are exactly the same size, 6'1", 215.
I mean, I've never seen Cooper in person, but that doesn't surprise me. He's a thick-built guy too. That was the fourth pick in the draft, and you know, neither one is a burner, but they both run really well. They're both really sharp route runners. Juju has better hands.
So Ben audibly here, 3rd and 6 from the 39. They go Connor to his left. Switzer's out there. Switzer's wide open, and he hits Juju down the right side. Yeah. Nice throw. Credit it there. Switzer went uncovered out of the left slot. If you watch on the top here, you see where he comes into the screen.
Wide open in the middle of the field, but this was a better call. Get him out of bounds.
Was better throw. Great throw. You had to throw it over the defensive back. That's a really good throw.
I mean, obviously the trust factor in Juju is so strong right now for 7. I mean, you can run the ball here a little bit. I mean, I know you want to get the ball. I mean, I don't know that you had to totally abandon the run. I would like to see them run the ball more in this game in general, but get out of bounds. There you go.
Oh, they didn't give it to him.
No,
I don't think it matters that much, but
promising drive nonetheless. But I would like a little more urgency here. That's not what they do, right?
The Steelers. You know, look, it's 4-down territory. Time's not going to kill you here, so you don't have to do anything.
Von Miller's out of the game. Pretty base coverage here.
So Vance is not.
You can certainly use the middle of the field. Yeah.
Oh, he can run that. He can that all day.
No. He would have got killed, right?
Crushed.
That was actually the smart move, and I can't believe he played it safe there. Boy, the scene's opened up, though.
That is
holy
awesome.
Cow. The old fella still tucks it and goes. Meanwhile, this Dolphins-Colts game's tied at 24-2. That's a playoff implication in the AFC.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. I didn't see much of I watched some of the Bengals and the Browns. The Browns, Browns are not a bad
and they're much better since the coaching changes. No doubt in my mind. No doubt.
Right.
The thing about the Browns is they're impressive now, and the Bengals are a train wreck. Is it a curse because they're going to keep Greg Williams now? You know, like, are they playing this guy into a job, and then you're realize a year from now, boy, we're going to fire this guy too. I do like their offensive coordinator, though, and I really like how that Browns offense is humming. You know, they're getting the
who's
Kitchens is his name. Yeah, and he's really catered things around Baker a lot more. Chubb is very, very impressive.
Well, Nick
I really think so. They're using him more in the passing game. That wasn't a strength of his coming into the league. They're not far away. I mean, one more off season, they could have a pretty complete team, but I just really worry about the coaching situation. Colts win that one at the end. So the Colts are now 6-5, and the Dolphins are 5-6. And that that spot for the 6th wild card spot.
Yeah, Luck's been fantastic. How about Lamar Jackson and his viability of what they're doing? 2-0 as a starter here. They haven't played very good teams, but they won both games. That's all that counts, right? So it's healthy. Who's the quarterback in Baltimore?
You broke up there just for a minute. You were asking about Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, if Flacco's healthy next week, who's the quarterback?
I think it's got to be Jackson. And I loved him coming out of school. And to be honest, I thought he'd be a little bit better of a passer of the football at this stage. But from what I saw today, he threw the ball much better. They didn't run him. I think they ran like twice in the first half. And I think if you pull him out now, obviously it's not what's best for the organization, big picture. But the argument is the Yondas and Suggs and Weddles that if you go to them and say, okay, we're putting the rookie in, that they're going to be like, oh, come on. I don't have much time left. That gives us the best case to win. But my argument against that is they're at practice every day.
Right,
they know who's better.
First and goal, 1:57 left, one timeout. You wanted the ball here on first down?
Or that.
They throw the fade to Juju.
Not close.
Not close.
Didn't love the play call, but oh well, that's all right. I wonder if that was an RPO.
I hate the fade.
I
hate the fade always. I never understand why receivers turn inside on that ball, Matt, rather than outside. I realize there's more end zone that direction, so you have more room to throw it. But if you throw it back toward the pylon and you have the guy on your shoulder, he can't get to it.
And it's funny. I hate the fade, but when I was at Pitt and we had Larry Fitzgerald, we used to put it up on the scoreboard. We're throwing the fade to Larry. That's a little bit different.
Right.
Connor.
And there they give it to Connor, and he gets one. Okay, 2 plays to get in. He got really not.
So you
much.
Throwing it here?
I'm throwing. Yeah. I'm absolutely throwing it now. Sit back down.
I remember last week you were walking around when all the great shit would happen.
Well, yeah, it's like, yeah. So is Vance McDonald? Has he come back in? I know he was on the sideline. Has he been back in here?
Too. I don't see him out there, obviously. No, they got Jesse out there. They got Washington out there.
Washington out there. Oh.
Oh, what are you doing?
Oh, boy.
Wow.
That's one way to end it.
Oh, these option plays near the goal line that everyone's running.
You're throwing it into a crowd there. That's just.
I'm not accusing Ben at all, but I'm
he was
sure
looking for AB, right? He had man coverage on
I'm not accusing him, but I'm sure he didn't think the nose tackle's dropping off there. I'd like to see this again and again, but I assume this is going to AB.
Yep.
That's a terrible decision.
The other guy's catching it.
That's a terrible decision. There's 2 guys in front of AB. Awful. Bad snap. Doesn't read things at all. Just gets rid of it. Doesn't see 96, that's for sure. Feel like it was just predetermined. I'm going to AB no matter what. That's poor, man.
Obviously there was clear PI last week against Switzer. But so does this change your opinion at all of the Steelers and where they are and who they are?
Not really, but as we know, they have some self-destructive tendencies, particularly on the road, although their road record's been phenomenal lately. It seems like there's a game or two like this every year where they play well and then they do dumb stuff or just they don't get the bounces or, Xavier Grimble type plays. But the end here is just a self-destruction mode. There's a dozen plays, David, in this game that are just really bad football plays that they should have made. This game was here for the taking.
Yep. Yeah, could have won the game for sure.
Yeah.
Could have won the game for sure. 17-7 second half with the ball at the Bronco 30-yard line, Connor fumble. And, Ben throwing 2. Look, what is 4 turnovers to 0?
Right. They're never going to win that.
right?
It's a quality team. It's not a great team. on a play-by-play basis on the road.
On the
Toughest
road.
place to play in the league, in my opinion. But yeah, you lose a turnover battle by 4 in those circumstances. I would have said, boy, they lost this game by 20.
Yeah, that is disappointing, man. Yeah. Look, I tell you, that's a couple weeks in a row. Connor not catch a touchdown pass and then get bailed out. He didn't get bailed out this week. All those people who want to, give James Conner big money and stuff. Let's see him get some of the kinks worked out.
And it really isn't a blame one guy thing. I mean, Ben was to blame on that. Connor was to blame for a play. We talked about all the other issues or singular plays of hurting themselves. And I think this team will be fine. But in the big picture, you lose this one, you still got the Chargers, the Patriots, the Saints. I mean, you got the hard ones coming up that if you play close to this style, you get killed in those games. Like the Jacksonville game last week, one thing I said was, okay, you're allowing a lot of yardage on the ground to Fournette. And that's okay. They're not going to beat you. They're settling for field goals. But what if you're allowing a lot of yardage on the ground to Gordon or Hunt or Michelle? Then they're going to drop 50 on you. You don't play the Jags passing game every week. And this Denver team's similar. Right. I mean, they're better than Jacksonville, but they're certainly not, the Chargers or the Chiefs or the Saints or somebody like that.
No question. I'm looking at the final numbers here, Matt. Steelers outgained them by 219 yards, 527 to 308. Yards per play, 6.9 to 5.8. Ben passed for 452.
452. Wow.
Obviously,
you got to win that game.
I mean, Steelers rushed. Yeah, you got to win. Penalties were even. Look, 4 turnovers to none. Steelers had the ball for 10 minutes more than the.
Yeah, I mean, they were the better team moving the football, racking up yardage. They couldn't finish, and the turnovers, massive. Wow. I mean, I know we could talk more and more about this and break everything down, but those stats, and rarely is that the case in football, but those stats you just said sum the game up perfectly.
Yeah. All right, man. Early thoughts. Steelers Chargers tomorrow. Next Sunday night. Rivers had 25 straight completions in the game today. He's been fantastic. Steelers, they're going to be at home. They're probably going to be favored, but they're going to have their hands
it's a really
full with the
complete
Chargers,
team
right?
too. I didn't watch a ton of that. They got up early. Obviously, the Steeler game was going on at the same time. Before both Denver losses, I thought they were basically equal teams, both well-rounded teams. Yeah. I think Rivers is having a better year than Ben. But Melvin Gordon did get hurt late in that game, and it looked like it could be a bad one. That's a big deal.
All right, Matt. Well, good stuff. We'll be on late next Sunday night. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for all of you for joining us on fourth quarter live on Fancred. Give us some comments. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like. We'll try and keep making this better as we go forward. We'll look forward to seeing you next Sunday night.